Hey everybody, are we live? Okay. It looks like you hit the wrong camera. Hey everybody, Aaron Blaze here, and it is Tuesday. What's the date today? Oh, it's the 23rd. It's my daughter's 30th birthday. So happy birthday, Austin Blaze, my daughter.
Happy birthday, Austin.
Staying hydrated. And so this is going to be our last live stream for a little bit. I got a new course that I'm trying to get out, and I have a hard time getting my courses done while I'm also live streaming twice a week. And so we're going to take a little break for the next week or so from live streaming so I can get my next course done, which is going to be a course on perspective. I'm going to be doing a whole course on 1, 2, 3-point perspective, natural perspective, talking about, you know, trees and humans and all that kind of stuff. Also, I'm going to be talking about atmospheric perspective, overlapping perspective, all kinds of things. Running out of breath. That make up perspective. And so that's that. The other thing too, over the weekend, I created some brushes, some new Photoshop brushes, and I wanted to try them out. If you can jump over to the to this screen, to my computer screen.
Yep.
I wanted to try them out last night, and I did this painting of our dog Achilles, who you guys have seen before. He's awesome, and the brushes really worked out well. I really love the feel of them. They're very naturalistic. I like to have a very natural oil painting type of look to my digital paintings, and I really feel like these brushes are giving me that. And so I'm going to do another painting today in those same brushes. And then we're going to make those brushes available on the website. So I'm just going to basically do a brand new brush demo today. And we're going to do a painting of our other dog. Achilles was my dog when we got together, Vedanta and I. And then this is Max. And little Max came with Vedanta. And so look at all that hair. So we're going to have some fun drawing this hair with some of my dry brush brushes and textured brushes and all that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to do that. And we got a whole bunch of announcements today. Also, I want to announce that we're getting into the Patreon market. And so I wanted to announce that we now have a Patreon channel or page, Patreon page, that you can go, and we have 3 different tiers that you can choose from. It's all image based. So as I create images and animation based, so you'll be able to not only download images that I've created, but we're going to do animation as well. And so if you are a TV Paint user down the road, you will be able to download some of my TV Paint files and have those as reference, okay? But we have 3 different tiers that you can choose from. The $1 tier, which is $1 per image, it gets you can download this image at regular screen resolution, 72 DPI, JPEGs, and it's all yours. You can use it as you see fit, as screensavers, as a poster, whatever you want to do. And then we have the $5 tier per image. And we're going to start doing our live stream images, plus a lot of my past images. We're going to bring them into here. And for $5 per image, you're going to get also, you know, not only the ability to download it and use it as a poster, do whatever you want with it, but you're getting all the layered Photoshop files. So you're going to be able to, you'll get the actual Photoshop file. You'll be able to dissect it and see how I put those images together, and hopefully learn something that way. So it's a really cool deal. It's something that's going to help us continue to create art for you guys, because it gives us a little bit of revenue in order for us to do it. And then hopefully at a very affordable price, we're going to be able to give you guys images and files that you can learn from. And that's really our goal, is to educate at a very affordable price point. And that's, you know, that's always been our goal at creatureartteacher.com. And so if you want to find my Patreon channel, go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com / Aaron Blaze Art. That's AARON BLAISE A-R-T. Aaron Blaze Art. Okay? So once again, that's patreon.com/Aaron Blaze Art. And go on over there and check it out. You know, try it for a month, see if you like it. Like I said, it's something that will really help us out in creating revenue in order to keep doing these things for you guys. I love doing this, and so there you go. Also, one last announcement before we start drawing. I just want to remind you that in the next couple of weeks, August 3rd and 4th, we're doing our first big masterclass here in Orlando. The sales of the tickets have really started to pick up, and so and the seats are limited. So if you want to get in, go check it out. It's going to be August 3rd and 4th. Go to creatureartteacher.com/Orlando 2019, and you'll get more information on it. It's going to be me for over 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, August 3rd and 4th, talking about basically the last 35 years of my career. And I'm going to be talking about character design. I'm going to be talking about creature design, animal drawing, story construction. I'm going to be talking about the different twists and I'm talking a little fast. Twists and turns of my career. We're going to do character design, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's 8 hours per day. We're providing lunch for you guys, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I would really, and plus we get to meet in person. Plus we've got some very small little surprises, little giveaways, and that sort of thing for you guys. So if you can make it, we'd love to see you. That's August 3rd and 4th, downtown Orlando at the Repertory Theater, right next door to the Orlando Art Museum and the Orlando Science Center. And so check it out. creatureartteacher.com/Orlando 2019, and you'll get more information. And if you're a student or a teacher, you can get up to $50 off on a 2-day pass. So that's worth it too. So check it out. YouTube question: do I sell reference images? Currently, I somewhat do. I have a big elephant texture pack that has a whole bunch of elephant photos, mainly focusing on the skin textures that we sell. And we also have a lot of images that go into our how to draw animal courses that are part of the course that I've shot. Beyond that, we haven't really done that, but it is something we've talked about because we have been going in and getting specific shots of specific animals. And one thing we would love to do is put together a packet of, say, wolves or cougars or foxes or grizzly bears, which I have thousands of photos of, and start selling those as a reference pack. So I like that question, and it's something that we are definitely looking into. So let me just stop talking just for a second, just to get set up here. I want to start, this is my image that I'm going to start with, my document. And I want to, this is Max. One more time, I'm going to just show you what Max looks like. Here he is, little Max. He's a little toy poodle. And he's awesome. Oh, I forgot to mention too, Dustin, I just picked Dustin up from the airport this morning. He took the red eye in from California. So he's home sleeping. He's not back yet. But once again, we have the lovely Vedanta Sproston at my side. And
Hi.
So she's going to be running everything. And also we've got Nick. And we've got Nick in Sarasota, and he's going to be manning questions as well. And Nick just said, in reference to the selling reference images, maybe that's something that we can include in Patreon as well. So I like that idea. We can get maybe some reference images of some of the animals into Patreon, which I think is a fantastic idea. So first of all, I want to get back to here, and I just showed you our little toy poodle, Max. And I'm going to go back to my main drawing brush. One of the packets I want to put together of these brushes are just like my 5 go-to brushes. And some of them are already included in other packets. I've got a whole bunch of new texture brushes that I've created, but I'm really using about 5 or 6 different brushes that I use for all my paintings. and I'd like to put together a packet of my go-to brushes for you guys as well. And I've kind of gathered them up in here, up in the upper left-hand corner. You can see them in my on my menu there. So first of all, you guys have seen me use this 100 times. This is my sketching brush, and this brush, by the way, you can get for free if you sign up for our newsletter. And so I'm just going to start drawing really quickly, and as I'm sketching, Vedanta, I am open for questions if you have them come up.
Yeah, Mia says, what do you think about people thinking that Disney isn't real art, or people who draw cartoon or animated characters? Others tell them that that's not real art and they should stop doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're, you might be misunderstanding too, because if you're just starting out, and you're just learning art, and all you're drawing is anime or cartoons, I recommend that you branch out. I don't say stop, and I don't say it's not real art, but what I really recommend is that you need to get out and broaden your horizons. You need to try different things. You need to understand different forms of art in order to improve your own art. Now, if people are just saying that, you know, animation art is not real art just because they don't believe it's real art, then that to me is just ignorance. So they just don't know any better, which isn't their fault. It's just they just don't know any better. Yeah, so, you know, it really depends on what they're in reference to. And so, and I've gotten a lot of pushback from kids when I say, hey, you know, stop drawing on anime, get out there and start drawing some other, you know, draw from life, draw reality, and they take it the wrong way. They take it as if I don't like anime, and that's not the case at all. I'm trying to get you to broaden your horizons and then come back. You can always come back to the anime, and you know, and you might have a different perspective, a whole new look. You know, that's the thing. So that's what I'm always trying to get young people to do. You know, or if it's not anime, it's anything. Get away from what you're comfortable with. That's basically what I'm saying. Get away from what you're comfortable with, and
it's hard too.
It is hard. Yeah, the whole idea is to make it difficult. You know, if it's easy, and if you're not struggling, then you're not learning. You know, you're just not. And art is hard.
Not to cut you off, Autumn Beverly is dying to know what you thought of The Lion King. She really wants to see it, but she wants to know your take on it.
You know what, from an environmental reality standpoint, which is what they were shooting for, I thought it was flawless. I thought it was really, really cool. To be honest, and it's not because I worked on the original, I missed the dynamics of the expressions in the hand-drawn version. It's, you know, I felt like the characters in the CG version, I don't want to call it live action. Everyone's calling it live action. It's not live action. It's the CG version. The expressions lacked, you know, clarity for me, which is okay. I mean, if it's something they were going for, and but it felt more like if you've ever seen any of the, you know, the shows where it's the live action dog and cat and they're trying to find their way home.
Yeah.
What are they called? The Long Way Home or whatever. And they're basically narrating their thoughts. That's kind of what The Lion King felt like to me, because the lip sync was so incredibly subtle. Half the time you didn't even see lip sync, so it felt like they were just kind of, you know, speaking their thoughts. And but I thought I was completely mesmerized by much of the film, because I just thought it was visually, I thought it was stunning. You know, to see what we're able to do, and the worlds that we're able to create in CG, I just thought it's really amazing. But I do feel that for this type of film, you know, it's I don't know. I think the storytelling took a little bit of a hit.
I loved what Donald Glover and Beyonce, the singing and the voices. I thought they did awesome.
Yes.
That was a highlight for me. Was the music
Yeah.
and then it was funny. There were some funny jokes that weren't in the original. I feel like they
You
did
know
some
what?
gags and stuff that were
Some
really
people,
cool.
I saw a lot of people throwing out a lot of hate towards Timon and Pumbaa.
Oh, I love them.
I thought Timon and Pumbaa were hilarious.
And Key and Peele as the hyenas. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was definitely worth going to see.
Yeah, I really did. And so, like I said, don't go there. See, I think one of the, and you can't help it, so I don't blame anybody. But if you go there comparing it to the original, which you're naturally going to do, then you're going to be disappointed. But if you go there and just watch it on its own merit, then I think it's a film worth seeing, and I think it's a film that, you know, the artists that worked on that film for the last 4 or 5 years, I think they did a beautiful job. It really puts you in Africa. It gives you a sense of place. And the amount of modeling and rigging and everything that it took to create all of those animals, I mean, it's amazing to me. And some of the shots, just some of the poetic shots of like the springbuck that were bounding through the air, you know?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
I know you were a little disappointed with the cloud scene.
yeah, I don't want to give that away. I wasn't
Okay.
going to talk about it, but yeah, but
Sorry.
no, that's okay. But it's yeah, the Mufasa in the clouds was a little.
People are like, don't spoil the Lion King for me. I'm like, you kind of know how it ends, right? But Gabby from Santa Cruz says hello.
Hey, Gabby.
And Vanya from
Come on.
where was it? I don't want to say
Netherlands.
the wrong thing. Netherlands. What's up, ladies?
Our
Long
castle
time-
friends.
Long time no paint with.
I
you
know, right?
Let's see.
So I'm just quickly drawing him in, sketching him in, and I'm giving him a little bit of caricature. But this is one of my custom brushes that I sketch with. Nick says he's having a few connection issues, so he might be a little delayed on some of the questions. So if your questions aren't getting
Okay.
answered,
From YouTube, right?
yeah.
So someone's saying that the being billed per image on Patreon, is that normal? They're used to like a monthly billing setup? Or
Yeah,
is it different?
there's several different ways of doing it, and it just depends on how often we're there. And we can do it. We wanted to try this way because we're not sure how often we're going to be able to get to it, if we'll be able to be consistent. And I was looking at other artists that do what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and they one of the artists, Craig Mullins, who's a really great digital artist. He goes by Image. Now he hadn't been on there for a while, so we might find that it's an experiment. We've never done this before,
Yeah.
so we might find that it's the monthly model might be better. I'm not sure.
It seems like some of the monthly models, they have less images. They're putting them out less frequently. You just have so many images.
Yeah,
And
see,
you
I thought the
yeah.
monthly model was for, you know, and once again, this is coming from someone that I'm new to all this, so I thought the monthly models were for people that were doing a lot of streaming and that sort of thing. Which, I mean, I'll be streaming, but I don't want to make all of my streaming just exclusive to, you know, people that are paying. I don't want to make it all. I want most of my streaming to be free. I'm just looking for a little extra bump so that we can keep doing this, you know, most of our other stuff for free.
Madeline Barnes says in art school they discouraged anime and cartoons at first, so you can learn anatomy and then you can apply it to those styles. So she's just agreeing with
Yeah,
what you
well,
said.
there you go, and that's exactly how I feel. You know, that's good.
Manny Zani says, "I love you, brother bear."
Oh, Manny, I love you back. It's Teton National Park. It's grand. So Manny and I and Nick and a few other artists, Manny Carrasco. If you guys don't know Manny Carrasco, go look him up. He's awesome. Manu, I think is that what you use on your Facebook?
Manu. Yeah.
Manu. He's the head of our organization, Expedition Art, and he's an amazing artist, amazing environmentalist, saver of wildlife, and Nick and I are going with him along with quite a few other artists in October, heading off to Kenya, and you're going to see some really great stuff come out of that trip.
Sierra Jones wonders if your prospective course will include examples of how to put a person or object into a background.
Yes, that's why I was saying it'll include natural type objects as well. So I'm just kind of scribbling in some of his textures. You see him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks cute. You're talking about Max, right?
Yep, this is
yeah,
Max.
He looks good. I'm
So-
just trying to look at questions.
I'm going to go in now, and I'm going to grab. This is one of my new brushes. Remember, I told you guys, I had this brush, and this texture brush, and there's a friend of mine that made it, so I didn't really want to sell it. So I spent the weekend trying to figure out what he did in order to create that brush, and so I've created a similar brush that's got the same texture. Not quite the same. I think it's got a little better texture actually, and so I'm going to start using that as a for local color.
Do you think putting fine art on merchandise cheapens it? For example, an oil painting on a mug or T-shirt.
How does it cheapen it?
That's just a question from Esther Rogers.
I know. I'm asking Esther. Is it Esther?
Yeah, it's Esther.
How do you think it cheapens it? And if it's because you're talking about as being mass produced, I would argue that you're allowing more people to enjoy that piece of art. If you're leaving everything just as
Painting on a wall or something.
just a painting on the wall on its own, then that's fine, and you can make it, it could theoretically be more exclusive. But I would argue that putting it out on more imagery is going to make that image even more exclusive, or more, not exclusive, but valuable, so to speak, because you're getting more people aware of it.
I'm having, let's see, Hannah Murray wants to know, are your courses suitable to use on Clip Studio, Paint Manga Studio, or do your brushes work on Clip Studio?
My brushes are Photoshop brushes. So I'm not sure. You'll have to ask. That's a Nick question, our tech guy question. But everything, all my brushes I make from.
Do they work on Procreate?
No, they're
Okay.
Photoshop brushes.
Yeah, I have requests for your brushes.
Oh, I know. I've
brushes.
had tons of requests for Procreate, and we will be getting to those. So I'm just laying in. This is one of the new texture brushes I just created, and I'm literally just laying in some very loose local color. That's all I'm doing, just very, very quickly, letting the drawing sit on top.
Oh, she said she read that galleries frown upon it. Of course, because they want to just sell the painting.
Yeah. Galleries don't necessarily, galleries are an industry of snobs. I'm sorry, but they are. And so we are coming into an age of a whole different way of sharing art and sharing imagery and getting art out there. And in my opinion, galleries are stuck in the past. I shouldn't say all galleries. I think there's a lot of galleries that are catching up, but in general, they're an idea stuck in the past, and I think they really need to come and catch up to.
Well, someone just said.
21st century.
Autumn Beverly just said that all the value is in the initial work of fine art, but that's not true, because if you reproduce it and sell it in a mass.
Well, it depends. Are you selling the art? Or are you selling the image? Because the image can be an enjoyable piece that's derived from the art, and that's where prints come from. Prints are very viable. Posters, all that. That's people sell fine art prints all the time, You're not buying that for the art because the art is not there. It's just a printed piece of paper. But it's a print of a piece of art that's really beautiful. Now, if you want the art, then buy the original. But not everyone can spend, 50, 60, $100,000 on a painting of a contemporary artist. And so you go for the print, or you get it on a shirt, or you get it on a mug. To me, there's no difference.
But I feel like over a lifetime, an artist can make just as much on prints, if not more, than just one original.
Is that a comment from someone?
No, that's from me.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on the niche market you're in. I mean, look at Guy Harvey. Guy Harvey, who started out as a marine painter, who's doing very well, decided to go into the shirt business, and now there's not a fisherman in Florida or Georgia or Louisiana or Alabama or Texas that doesn't have one of his shirts, and he's a multimillionaire over and over again. Now, did he sell out? No, he just found another niche to get his work seen, and people love his work on their clothes. Why not? If you like, just because art hangs on a wall doesn't mean it can't be appreciated on a mug or on clothes or that sort of thing. So I just get away from the snobbery.
I have another question from Thomas Gonzalez. He says, "Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Thomas.
When doing lip syncing, is it better to focus on phonemes or visemes?" I don't know how to say those.
I focus on accent. Where are they putting the accent? The hard sounds, the big sounds. That's what I focus on. If you watch, my big example for lip sync is watch Muppets. Muppets, all they have is an open mouth and a closed mouth. They can't do mouth shapes, and it's amazing how much lip sync a good puppeteer can get with Muppets just by hitting the open and the close, and they're doing that by hitting the accents and hitting the accents at the right level that the accents are being hit. If you can hit that, then all you really need to do is finesse the shape in animation. You've got lip sync. Have I seen Lion King? Yes, we just talked about that. And then a Twitch question. Hi, what's the hardest scene / animation for you to do acting wise? There's no hardest and there's no easiest. To me, they're all hard, and it's just a matter of how you approach them. For me, I have a systematic way of approaching all of my animation, and I've been doing it the same way for the last 30 years. And as long as I stick with that systematic approach, then I'm okay. I don't have any problems. So here I've gone in, and it's a multi-tiered way that I approach. And so just real quick, I listen to the dialogue. First of all, I need to find out from the director, or if I'm directing, I need to understand where in the story, where in the sequence this scene is falling, what's happening between the two characters, what's the conflict, who's coming out on top, and then is it a broad scene? Is it a wide shot and there's going to be a lot of movement? Is it a two shot that's just from the waist up and it's very little movement? Is it just a head and shoulders single shot where the character is just talking? So there's all these different things that you need to take into account, and then from there you want to start listening to that dialogue and hearing it and feeling it and making it real to yourself, so that when you're playing it back in your head, you're not just giving it a choreography, you're actually playing it back in your head in a way that's naturally acted. And so then once I have that, then I sit down and I start to thumbnail. I start to map out all of the poses that I see throughout. And one of the ways I do that is I break up that dialogue into what I call phrases. Each phrase is a different idea. And so once I get those phrases worked out and I get those ideas worked out, each idea usually represents one pose, or a pose represents a phrase or an idea. And so then I get those worked out, and then I work out the connective tissue, the animation that's going to connect those poses together in the thumbnails. And then once I have all that worked out, then I shoot that. I just shoot the thumbnails just to see if I have a basic map or a basic choreography of what's happening. And then if it's working, then I start doing the rough animation. If it's not, then I go in and I start making little tweaks and little changes. And the reason I do it this way is that it saves me a lot of time in drawing and searching because I'm planning every step of the way. And so if you do it, no matter how difficult a shot is, you can work your way through it.
Anna Vulcan wanted to thank you. Where she's from, she says that there's no animation schools or character design schools, and the government doesn't help with any kind of school expenses. And your videos have been so helpful, your YouTube videos, as a teaching option for her. So she's
that makes me very happy.
Thanks.
Thank you for saying that.
Someone wants you to show the giant charcoal drawings again. Please, they're amazing. Are you still planning on selling those?
Yes. And hold on one second.
Do you want me to grab one, or?
Sure. So already, just laying down the local color with this textured brush I've got with the drawing, we've already got kind of a fun little sketch. Let's see
I
what
wanted
we've
to give
got.
you a different one from last time. You showed the other one last
Yeah,
time.
go ahead and switch over the camera.
You got that?
These are huge. Let me move my chair.
Yeah, they're big.
See if I can get the reflection out of it. Hold on, let me turn it this way. I know you're getting the reflection of my screen.
Of the dog,
But this
still,
is
you can see the size.
yeah. There's my charcoal of the tiger, and then hand me the leopard. This is the leopard. Maybe if I get up getting up
You
closer.
just gotta tip it down.
just
Yeah,
keep-
right there, like that kind of.
Yeah, so there's the leopard. These are all charcoal originals. They're all done on board, on cardboard, on mat board.
You want another one?
Let's do one more. We'll do that one.
Lioness.
Oh, actually, do the
The lion.
yeah.
Here's-
Or I'll take this one anyway.
Okay.
Here's another one. This is a reclining lioness. This is actually well, all these are animals that I've seen in the wild. The leopard was one that I was from a wild leopard that I photographed, and I did the charcoal from the photographs. And this is from photographs that I shot of a lioness out in the Masai Mara in Kenya. And the same with this guy. This is a lion that a male lion that I photographed in the Masai Mara in Kenya. So, sorry about the reflections. It's hard to do this, but there you go.
Get an idea of how big they are.
So yeah, these are big, and they're all originals. These are all charcoal, and they are going to be going up for sale. They're not cheap. They're not cheap. I just want to let you know that. So these are for more of the serious collectors. But we do have. I'm going to have some prints of them, but the price will be about 3,000 US. So here we go. So I've got his local color laid in, and now what I want to do is I want to go in and I'm going to put a layer on top, and I'm going to set it to multiply, and I want to go in and throw in some shadows, and I'm going to use my sketching brush and just get a little bit more definitive with some of these areas that I'm creating. Go a little bit warmer with the shadow. And with Patreon, by the way, you're allowed to set a monthly cap. Nick just wrote that to me. I just want to let you know that. You can set a monthly cap on Patreon. But what's cool is you're going to get, what I'm really excited about is being able to get, these Photoshop images. You can have all the files, all the layers, and you can break them down and really see how we do this, how I do this. I think it'll be really neat. And Logan on YouTube asked, "Do you think you can do a Marvel character like Silver Surfer?" You know what? I don't know. I've never thought about it. It would be kind of fun. So I'm just going to go in and hit. I'm looking at my reference and where all the shadows are hitting. And he's so shaggy.
Caroline said, "I'll take the leopard if I suddenly find a rich relative." Caroline from the Midlander.
The Midlander.
The Midlands. Everyone says they're stunning. They're beautiful, amazing. What's the biggest canvas you've ever worked on?
6 feet, 4 feet by 6 feet. I did a giant sea otter painting. It was mostly ocean from Alaska, and I had a collector buy it from Ohio. This was years ago when I was still doing a lot of wildlife art shows. This is probably 20 years ago. That was the last. That was probably the biggest painting I've ever sold.
6 foot by.
6 feet by 4 feet. It was huge.
What was the big close-up elephant? Remember? There was.
Oh, that one was 4 feet by 48 by 30.
I've heard about
36
it.
inches, 48. No, 36 inches high, and 48 inches wide. That was an elephant that had charged us. And I did a painting of her.
It's
when
like
we
a
got
legendary. I always hear about the painting, but I don't think I've ever seen what it looks like.
Well, I got a little low on cash after I lost my job with Digital Domain, so I had to sell it. One of the beauties of being an artist, you get low on cash, sell your art.
Martin Berger says Manny would buy every single one of those for $100.
It's absolutely. That's right, Manny. $100.
$100.
So I'm set to multiply right now, and I'm just basically sketching in the negative spaces, shadow areas between the clumps of hair.
Have you seen the new?
Have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? The new Cats trailer. Someone's
Yeah,
asking
I can't.
about visually, it's a wild ride.
Yeah, it was a little weird for me.
I think some things that translate on a stage because it's so fantastical.
Yeah.
Don't translate in a movie. Like Rent I guess it was kind of popular, but I couldn't get into it.
You're talking about the movie?
Yeah, the movie Rent.
Yeah.
Couldn't get into it. I think that.
But this is beyond that. This is, to me, I don't know. I mean, it's a matter of taste, obviously, and my tastes on that were just a little off.
For people that love cats.
Yeah, if you like that movie, then yeah, it's really cool. Or if you like the stage show, I've never actually seen the stage show, so yeah, it's just a little weird. YouTube comment: Hi Aaron, I just purchased TV Paint after watching your streams. I wanted to say I love the program and your streams. Well, that's awesome, and hopefully with this Patreon thing, we'll be able to get you some TV Paint files of some of my animation, and you can break that down and have some fun with that.
Seth Eisenzimmer, I just wanted to say that name. Do you ever use smoothing on your brushes?
I don't ever use smoothing.
Well,
No, I like the natural. I don't worry about it. If there's a little shake or a little unnatural feel to it, because it's no, I don't use that.
Oh,
smoothing is like when you do an arc on something and the program automatically smooths out any imperfections.
Someone's asking about a storyboarding video, and then I had Kevin answered the question for us. But yeah, it's isn't it Lyndon Ruddy?
Lyndon Ruddy, yeah.
Or
Lindy Ruddy.
Lyndon Ruddy on Creature Art Teacher.
Yeah.
He does a storyboarding course, which is awesome.
We got guys outside working the blowers, so you might hear that going on, which is completely annoying. So I'm just working this. Once again, staying loose, hitting negative spaces,
Amy Gordon says, I've taken several classes in Photoshop, including yours, and the way you lay shadow and highlights is brilliant, genius, and time saving. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Shadows are hard.
Well, they are. If you're not thinking about where the light, if you think about light and form, if you have a good sense of what the form is that you're creating, and you have a good sense of where that light direction is coming from, then the rest of it will fall into place. It just takes practice. It's just like anything else. You got to practice at it. But it is hard at first. So what I'm going to be doing is when I lay down these dark areas, I'm going to be laying in light areas on top as well, and more shadow and that sort of thing. So this is still just the rough stage of roughing everything in. YouTube question: how many layers do you typically use? Well, typically I have my rough sketch, then I have a refined sketch, but lately I've been skipping the refined sketch and just going right into it and staying loose. So there's 2 layers, and then I have a local color layer. So there's 3 layers, and then I usually have my shadow layer, which we're doing now. There's 4 layers, and then I kind of do a slight highlight. There's 5, and then brighter highlights, and then darker shadows. There's usually about 10 layers that I work up to.
Chelsea Henry says, hello.
Hello.
Very excited to attend your masterclass.
Oh, good. You're going to be there.
Absolutely. How early before 9 a.m. do you recommend arriving at the Repertory Theater?
I would say get there at least 20 minutes ahead of time so that you can check in. I would say get there 30 minutes ahead of time, so you can check in. There's going to be, there's quite a few people signed up, and so there's going to be a very big line of people coming in. Did I just say very big?
Very big.
It's going to be a very big line.
Like strawberries and blackberries, all kinds of berries.
But it's going to be a very large group, and so it's going to take a while to get people checked in. So if you want to help us out, then yeah, please get there at least a half an hour or even 45 minutes ahead of time.
Because we'll be there really early setting up and getting everything.
Yeah.
Right? Probably, yeah. Would you like a CGI version of Brother Bear?
You know what? I think it would be really cool. And it's not anything that'll ever happen, but I think it's something that I think it could be a cool version. I mean, Brother Bear never was a commercial success enough to warrant doing a live action version, but I do think with the technology that we have right now, it could make a pretty cool live action film.
Asking what I do for a living. Well,
you're an artist.
I am an artist.
And you're raising 3 daughters.
Yes, and I was restaurants and helping run restaurants and manage and food for like 25 years. So that was my main income. But now I get to focus on my art. So that's cool. And how many animals do we have?
Well, we got a bunch of fish. We got 2 cats.
Actually, the fish just had
2
babies.
Dogs. Yeah.
There's little baby fish now. But
so 2 cats and 2 dogs.
Yeah, fish.
So once again, I'm just going in and I'm hitting with my regular sketching brush, creating these negative shapes with a layer set to multiply. And I've got, kind of a dark mid-tone, cool shadow. And these still aren't going quite as dark as what eventually they will go. I'm just hitting some of these. And I'm trying to stay very organic and I'm looking at, what are the kind of the negative shapes in the dark areas that are being made in my reference image. And I'm trying to mimic that. Make it feel like he's got this shaggy, curly kind of coat.
Lou Sensenbauer I said it anyway.
Nice name.
Yeah, he said don't even try.
I like it. Yeah.
He said, have you ever painted on or drawn on odd things rather than paper, like shoes or I don't know, curtains or
butts, boobs, clothes. I've painted on it all.
You've done body painting?
Yep.
Or like autographs or something? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny.
Oh yeah. And yeah, and I've done murals and I've done what was it that we were doing? I love doing sidewalk drawing.
Oh, they said rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said, which is different than maybe sidewalk, but still.
Yeah, I've done it on rock.
Sand?
No. Can't say sand.
You never built a sandcastle?
Oh, I built a sandcastle. Yeah.
Sandcastle lion?
Oh, I guess that's true. I mean, actually, my buddy Rob Berry, who I don't know if he's listening right now or not, but we used to my brother and he and I used to enter the sandcastle building contest every year down in Naples, Florida, where we grew up, and we always won in our division. It was kind of cool. We didn't do sandcastles. We built like animals.
Nice. That's
like
cool.
pterodactyls. And remember one year we did a giant life-size killer whale that had washed up on the beach, and we actually used tempera paint, so it's non-toxic. We would use tempera paint to paint the actual sculptures, and so we actually had people sometimes coming up and go up to touch the actual sculpture that we did to see if it was real or not. It was pretty cool because like every once in a while we do like a giant shark. We do some great white sharks like if they've been washed up, and I would get sheets of styrofoam, and cut them out in the shapes of fins and sand them and get them perfectly shaped, and I'd put those into the sand so it looked like their fin is sticking up in the air when they're laying on the ground, and it worked.
Cool.
It worked perfectly.
People are commenting on your speed in Photoshop, just how quick you draw. It's crazy. Crazy, I tell ya. Kevin Van Claveren wants to know,
Another great name.
He has your charcoal course, and I believe he said he's already done some reproductions of the stuff that you do following along.
Okay.
He wants to know, are you planning on doing another course anytime on charcoal? Because that's something he's interested in.
Okay. Yeah, we probably will. Right now, it's probably down low on the list just because we've got so many other things that we want to focus on. But we will definitely come back and be revisiting charcoal for sure.
We've got perspective, birds of prey.
Perspective,
oil.
birds of prey. Where's the colored pencil?
Oh, it's right. Yes, sir. Oh, colored pencil. That's right.
Yeah, because I want to do a course on colored pencil. This is an image that I just did the other day.
Yeah.
In colored pencil, and it was a lot of fun. And I'd forgotten how much fun I used to have with colored pencil. For years, it's the only medium I used, and I came up with kind of my own techniques. And so I definitely want to do a course on using colored pencil as well.
I have another person asking about, do you have courses that explain how to use Photoshop or how to use TV Paint?
Yes. If you go to my YouTube channel, I've got if you go down my list of category videos, there's a section on just TV Paint videos, and those are free. So go to my YouTube channel. It's just YouTube, and I think it's Aaron Blaze Art.
Art of Aaron Blaze, yeah.
Is it Art of Aaron Blaze or Aaron Blaze Art?
When I look it up, it says the Art of Aaron Blaze, but that's...
I think it's, but on the URL, I think it's Aaron Blaze Art.
Oh, okay.
And there's free instruction in there for TV Paint. And then what was the other part of the question?
The TV Paint.
Oh, and then in Photoshop.
And Photoshop.
I do have I have an entire course on my website, creatureartteacher.com, on digital painting, and it's focused on Photoshop. So you can check that out as well. So here I've created a new layer, and I'm going to set that to overlay because now I want to get I'm going to start establishing some brighter areas, and I don't want it to get I want it to be somewhat warm. So I'm going to bring it down in here, the color towards like a warm blue, but I'm still going to keep it somewhat gray and not too bright. Oh, Nick says, sorry if I missed this. Any thoughts on the Cats trailer? Yeah, we already covered that, and I was a little bit creeped out by it. Nick asks, do you have any pics of the sand animals? It would be cool to share. I don't. I do somewhere. I just don't have them right now. Nick. So all I'm doing here is just laying in some brighter areas. Just slightly brighter, and it's set to overlay, so it's not opaque. It's just adding some brighter values here and there.
Because of my name, Vedanta, someone's wondering where I'm from. It's kind of a weird name, I guess.
You think?
Yeah. Are you going to take part in Inktober? Luke Buscott wants to know.
Probably. I missed it this past Inktober. I didn't. I was so busy doing other things, I wasn't able to participate. I can't believe we're coming around to Inktober already.
I know.
Oh, I know. You know what I missed? I got most of it. You know, I was just thinking I missed Mermaid.
You did. Mermaid.
Which was my daughter's first word, mermaid, and the way she said it was mermaid.
Mermaid.
Uh,
Well, people are hyped up about the pencil.
Hey, we have a shout out to Tiffany, our new Patreon backer.
What?
So I think we have I think Tiffany's our first Patreon backer. Thank you, Tiffany. That's awesome.
Awesome. People are hyped about the colored pencil course. Just to let you know.
Oh, really?
A lot of people are saying, heck yeah.
Oh, good. Because colored pencils, they're a little funky. You know, they take a little bit of work in themselves. It's not something you just sit down and start cranking. They're a quirky little medium.
Is your brush flow set on high or low right now?
I keep everything set to high. I always keep the flow at 100% on every brush I use. It's just that right now I'm working on overlay, the overlay blend mode, and so because everything's so dark and I'm using somewhat of a light value, it's all it's really doing is just lightening a couple of areas. It's not really doing much more than that.
And you've got.
And I'll be doing an opaque over the top of it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You also have requests for acrylic gouache oil courses as well, which those are kind of in the line anyway, right?
Yes, those are in line.
Yeah.
Which I'm really happy people are asking for traditional media. That really makes me happy. I think so many young people are not doing enough traditional media, and I really love that.
Well, you can't just erase a layer, or like turn
Exactly.
a layer off. It's when you put it down, you put it down. And
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, but cool.
YouTube question: do I consider myself a self-taught artist? Not at all. I think I've discovered things along the way, but I don't really believe that there's any such thing as a self-taught artist. I think artists, even self-taught artists, are influenced by what they see from other artists, which to me is, when you're being influenced, you're learning from others. And I definitely am not a self-taught artist. I went to college. I learned a ton in college. When I went to Disney, I learned even more at Disney. And I'm always being affected, especially nowadays. I'm constantly being affected by what I see in social media and how, we're in such an age of information sharing and gathering and all of that, we're all influenced by what we see and hear and everything else around us. So even the self-taught people, if that's what you want to call it, you're still learning from other people that you see. You're being influenced. You're being taught, whether you realize it or not, from outside sources.
Dale French wants to know what kind of tablet you're using.
I am on. Unfortunately, my studio camera is not working. We've been struggling with that today, but I am on a Cintiq a Wacom, W-A-C-O-M, Wacom Cintiq 32 Pro. It's the biggest Cintiq that they make, and I'm using Photoshop as my software. And if you go to Wacom.com, that's WACOM.com, you'll see the whole line of products that they offer, and I'm using the 32 inch. So we're getting there. I mean, this is actually coming along quite quickly. So I'm going to create another layer on top with another blend mode set to multiply, so I can get my deep darks. And once again, I'm staying in that kind of mid to lower mid value range. Thanks to CM, our newest Patreon backer.
Awesome.
Man, this is awesome. I love that we're getting some new Patreon backers, because you guys, I really want to share this stuff with you guys, and I want to do it at a super low cost, and I think that's going to be cool. So now, what I can do with this new layer, I can get really deep darks.
Looks awesome.
I'm going to blow this up so you can see it a little better.
It looks so cute.
Yeah, this is. And notice, I don't go really extreme. I'm not going super bright yet, and I'm not going. Now I'm hitting my darks, but I start in that middle value. That middle value is your local color, and then I start to go dark, then I start to go light, then I start to go darker, then I'm going to go lighter, and I start bouncing back and forth, getting more extreme, working it up that way. And if you do it that way, I find, or at least I've found over the years through doing that, I keep better control of the entire structure of the image. The other thing I'm going to pull out that I really use a lot is the dry brush. And that dry brush will really give us some nice fur textures.
Jenny Hall wants to know if you'll adopt her. She makes good sandwiches.
Good, because I love sandwiches. Sure.
But no.
Sure, but no.
But no. We have a, yeah.
We've got a menagerie.
We've got a full house. Gotta be better than the that wrap we had this morning.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. So this is coming right along. You can see adding these extra little darker areas. I'm trying hard not to create a pattern, and I'm creating a little bit of a pattern. I want it to be a little bit more spontaneous than what I'm creating.
Caroline Wilson.
Or organic, I should say.
Caroline Wilson says, confession time. I've been using my iPad Pro so long for digital drawing that the other day I two-finger tapped the undo mistake on my watercolor.
I've actually been known to do that as well.
Anyone lose their pencil when it's in your hand?
All the time. Vedanta will tell you I lose my sunglasses in my hand.
And they're on your head. Yeah,
they're on my head.
Or your seeing glasses.
I once had two sets of glasses on my head, a set of glasses hanging off my neck.
And you were looking for glasses?
And I had my glasses on, and another pair in my hand, and I was looking for my glasses.
You're crazy.
That's why I have so many sets of glasses laying around, because I lose them all the time. But this one particular time, I think I had every single one on me, and I still, for a second, was looking for them.
Gabby Young, our friend from the castle, says, Aaron, the fact that you're so aware of other aspiring artists and trying to shoot for low costs really is the greatest thing ever. It really does show how much you love what you do.
Well, I love what I do, and I love other artists. I love people. And I was there, I couldn't afford college. I couldn't afford any of that stuff. And if it wasn't for other people that gave me scholarships or just straight up gave me money to go to school, I never would have been able to go to school. And we live in an age now in the United States where it's just getting harder and harder to get to school, and it's only getting worse. And so, Nick and I have always, ever since we started this company, that was our main goal, is to make it, we want, people shouldn't be deprived in education because they can't afford it. That to me is a sin, and it's horrible. And so we wanted to change that a little bit, and so that's what we're doing.
It's just not right.
Just not right.
I couldn't afford to go to art school.
No.
I grew up poor. I got accepted to 3 different art schools, and I couldn't go.
Yeah, exactly. That to me is a crime.
And that's with financial aid and a small scholarship and everything, and I still couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I've got Madeline Burns. Will you be making a course on the business side of animation industry, being a solo artist?
Oh, you know what? I've never thought about that. That's not a bad idea. I don't know that I know as far as the animation, because I mean, I've been in animation for 30 years, but 21 of those years I was working for Disney, and that really doesn't give you a good insight into the business side of it, because as an artist at Disney, I was just doing what I needed to do to get the work done, and I really didn't have a good sense of what it was like to be like an independent filmmaker. It's not until the last 5 or 10 years that I've really come to understand what that's like in the real world outside the world of Disney. Because trust me, Disney's not the real world when it comes to filmmaking. As a filmmaker, it's so nice because everything is, you still have to watch your budget and everything, but the budgets themselves are incredibly huge.
Astronomical.
When I made Brother Bear, we made Brother Bear I had a budget of $90 million. That's a crazy amount of money.
Poor you. That's sad. That's not very much.
I know, right?
And then when you asked for a Cintiq, you had it the next day.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of
Yeah.
ability to get any tools you need.
Exactly.
Kevin wants to know.
Oh, I got a shout out to Tiffany. Oh, I already said Tiffany. Sorry.
You did, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
sorry.
Thanks, Tiffany, again.
A YouTube question. Aaron, are you going to be having any local hands-on workshops in the near future? Are you going to have any
Hands-on
workshops? Well, this one will not be hands-on. Well, I'll be demonstrating, and you guys can follow along on paper. I mean, it's going to be theater seating, so it might be a little difficult. But yes, we are talking about doing some of that. As a matter of fact, I'm talking to a company right now because I want to do a 2-day animal drawing course. I've got a friend that's got a whole menagerie of exotic animals.
Near Naples.
I want to wait for any.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I don't want to say where it is yet in case we don't get it worked out. But I have a friend that I'm trying to work it out to where we can do a 2-day animal drawing course, live animal drawing, and I'm talking rhinos and big cats and giraffes and all kinds of great stuff.
Here in Florida, though, right?
Here in Florida,
Okay.
yes.
Just to have a general
And they're
idea.
also talking about doing something in Montana.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are you planning on doing Inktober drawing every day or just one?
Well, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago was the last time I was able to do it every day. I'm going to try to do it every day,
It's hard.
but it's with my schedule, it's difficult.
Leonardo San Andreas. That's cool, San Andreas.
Yes.
Leonardo San Andreas. I just want to say that again. What does the multiply layer do?
The multiply layer does it literally multiplies with the layer underneath it. So watch, if I've got this set to multiply. If I draw a line, you can see it multiplies with the layer underneath. You can see through it. And so what that does is that it creates a nice way to create shadows, because I'm actually creating a dark area, but you're seeing the drawing and everything underneath. So it's a nice way to create some shadow areas. And that's what I usually use the multiply layer for. It's just that reason.
So it doesn't cover up your work, it just darkens it.
YouTube question. Aaron, will you be reviewing the new Cintiq 22? I'm not quite sure. I'm not, unless Wacom sends it to me. I probably won't, because I've got a lot of Cintiqs right now. I don't need another one.
Question. Seth Eisenzimmer again. I was watching older videos of yours on YouTube. You talked about people selling fan art. I've been doing portraits for clients, but putting them in styles of my favorite cartoons. Do you think that's unethical?
No, I don't think that is. No. No, what I think is unethical is people that are taking designs that have already been done for other companies and then selling them. you know, because they drew it. But that's, you know, that's not your design. It's not your place to do that. And so that's just, you know, that's where I stand. So like my own characters, you know, Raja and Nala and that sort of thing. I'll draw them for YouTube and I'll draw them for fans and that sort of thing, but I will never sell them.
Because it's not your property.
It's not my property. You know, I was paid by another company, by Disney, to design those characters for the company, and so they own it. And so it's not up to me to draw them and then sell them. It's just it's not right. So I'm going to go through now and just hit little shadow area on the right. He's got a little bit of shadow area here.
Caitlin Mariah wants to know if you'll do a course on snakes or scales.
Not necessarily snakes, but I'm going to do not specifically snakes, but I'll do reptiles for sure, which will include snakes.
Ooh,
yeah.
Alligators and
all kinds
lizards
of fun stuff.
Oh, cool. See, that sounds fun.
So I'm going to take this. Let's see. I'm going to go.
Any tips on reptilian skin or reptiles' skin? That seems like it's difficult.
It's really finding that repeating pattern. You know, reptile skin has a repeating pattern to it, and it depends on the reptile, obviously. But it's got that repeating pattern that you want to make sure that you get, and the designs and everything else. Just trying to get a little bit of a shadow down on the ground, just so we can see. There we go. Nick says, to those asking about whether your brushes work in various programs, if your program import is a ABR or ABR files, and most do. If your program imports ABR files, and most do, then they will work. But they may perform differently. Corel Painter does the best job of replicating Photoshop behavior. Okay, so there you go.
Another question on, do you have any videos on tone?
Well, I have videos on lighting and not necessarily specifically lighting, but I have videos on different like digital painting that covers lighting and things like that. So if you're talking about that
starting
sort
with
of thing,
like mid-tones and things like that.
Yeah.
Will you be? This is a serious question now, Kristen Von Benson. Will you be storming Area 51?
No.
No. Short answer.
No.
No.
So here I've gone in. I've got some nice texture and stuff in here. So now what I want to do is I want to start. I'm going to put a layer on top. Now I'm in a normal blend mode, and I want to start bringing out some of these highlights. And so I'm going to use several different brushes. One is my sketching brush that you've already seen me use, and I just want to hit some mid. It's going to be a little warmer. I'm keeping it in the gray area. Well, let me come down here. There we go. I'm going to keep it in the gray, keeping it warm. You can see I'm in the warm area, but I'm in the cool part of gray. When I was up here in the blue, now I'm in the warm part of blue. See, when you go towards the gray, you're warming it up. If you're in a warm color, the more towards the gray, you're cooling it off. And so I'm actually kind of in a cool gray right now. And I want to just go in and just lightly, I want to start hitting a few little details. It's just going to be like little stray hairs that are coming out here and there. Just little ones. It's sort of like in matte painting. You only need a little bit of detail to go a long way.
Autumn Beverly says, please come to Cincinnati, Ohio for a workshop. The Cincinnati Zoo is an awesome location. It's very big.
Oh, cool. We will put that on our list. So here you can see I'm kind of down in a low mid tone, And but because it's lighter than everything else around it in the dark area that I'm working, it's feeling like I'm getting some nice little highlights. Now if I go a little brighter, I can come in here and pull out some even brighter highlights if I blow this up a little more. And his little snout there. Now the other thing I want to do is I'm going to start modeling that nose. So I'm going to go back to the cool because it's reflecting, in my mind it's reflecting kind of a blue sky. I'm going to go a little darker right down in here. We're going to get a little touch of reflected blue on that nose. There you go. That's all it needs.
Oh, his little nosy.
And then right up in here, I'm going to go a little brighter. And just very subtle. That's all it needs. That's it. And then one more little schmack. Boop.
Oh, his wet little nose.
I don't like that one. Just a little.
Cute.
Yeah, that's all it needs. Boom.
Will you do a course on landscape painting using traditional mediums?
Yes. Yes, I will do that. As a matter of fact, that's what we focused on in our workshop as well. But we'll be doing it for a course as well. I'm going to go a little cooler with that.
Gabby wants to know how the Beatles tour was.
The Beatles tour was awesome. For those of you that don't know, my father, we brought with us to England a couple weeks ago. My father's 80 years old, but he was in a band for years back in the 50s and 60s. And back during the time of the Beatles, they were just like a year or two older than the Beatles. And he did pretty well in his own right. But they also, later on, when their popularity waned a little bit, they did a lot of Beatles covers, and he's always been a huge Beatles fan, and so we went to Liverpool. My father had never been out of the country before, and so we went to Liverpool, and we took a tour and just took him all over the place. And it was probably one of the coolest things I've ever been able to do with my dad.
The Magical Mystery Tour.
It was the Magical Mystery Tour. Yep.
We got to stand in Penny Lane and go to Strawberry Fields and hear all the stories.
It was so cool. And then we went to the Cavern, which is where the Beatles got their start.
Well, it's a reproduction of the Cavern.
The club.
The original one that got torn down or whatever. But
oh, did it?
Yeah, but
I didn't catch that part.
They reconstructed that identical to the original one.
Gotcha.
But
yeah. It was cool.
And Gabby, I love the Beatles. I have a bunch of their records, like some originals and stuff. And yes, Beatles are freaking awesome.
So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just hitting little details, but because of the work that I'd already done underneath, it doesn't take a lot of. I don't have to draw every hair. I'm just hitting little details, and it really carries over quite a bit, and it makes him look like he's a lot, I'm rendering a lot more hair than I really am. Danny on YouTube asked, did you ever have to defend a creative idea against someone who was against it? If so, how did you persuade them? Well, we do that all the time as artists at Disney. We're a group of people making a project together, and it's always, we're always, throwing around different ideas, defending your own idea as to why you feel it's the right way to go. But there's a difference between defending and not being able to let go. And so you gotta be able to let go when there's a better idea on the table than your own. And you have to have the maturity to recognize it. And so there's that as well. And so, but as a director, I always try to not so much defend my ideas, but really defend the thematic. What's the movie about? And measure every idea that came in against that thematic. And if that idea supported the thematic and also, is really a more dynamic, better idea, then I don't care if I came up with it or a producer came up with it or the garbage man came up with it. If it's a better idea, then we were going to go with it. And that's what we did. And but I really tried to measure it as much as I could against what we're trying to say. What are we saying as a film, and does that measure up against what we're trying to say.
Oh, Maxie, he looks so good.
He's coming along. Kurt on YouTube asks, how many years do you think it'll take to animate a shot with a character with the level of detail in this illustration? And is it even worth trying? Well, I mean, people have done it. You know, you might get one image done a day. Who knows? 20 depends on, you know, you could animate it on 4s. So you've got, it would take 6 drawings for a second of film. And I don't know. It could take a little while, and it might be worth trying. I mean, look at the film Finding Vincent.
Oh, from like oil paintings, right?
Yeah, those are all oil paintings.
All oil paintings, thousands of them.
Yeah.
I do have Martin Visser wants to know what you think is the most beautiful place in America.
Oh man, that's so hard to say. I mean, there's so many different beautiful places that are so different than other places. I love Yellowstone. I love Sequoia. I love Big Sur, which is, I think, one of the most beautiful places. I love the Keys, which I think are some of the most beautiful places. But it's completely different. The Keys is, you know, a tropical Caribbean paradise, and Big Sur is a mountainous, you know, lots of big trees and canyons and valleys, and you know, it's just it's hard to say. I love Big Sur. I love Sequoia, Kings Canyon, Yosemite. You know, all of those places are just insanely beautiful.
It's called Loving Vincent.
Loving Vincent. Sorry, not Finding
Okay.
Vincent. And so these are, you know, it's Denali National Park. Holy cow, up in Alaska. That's one of my favorite places to go. You know, some of the places I've been to in Hawaii. You know, how I don't know. It's an impossible question for me to answer. There are so many beautiful places, and I've been to a lot of them, and I haven't been to a lot of them. Florida, the Everglades. I mean, geez, where I grew up is some of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. YouTube question: is this painting based on a dog you know? Is it your dog? Yes.
Yes.
This is Max.
Why, yes.
So yes, well, yes. This is our little dog Max.
Maxie.
He's 13 years old. This is an image. This is the reference photo right here, and I've pushed it a little bit to caricature him just a little.
He's about 5 pounds.
Yeah.
As an old man, everyone thinks he's a puppy. He's
Yeah.
an old man.
Oh, he's yeah. So that's the reference, and we put him up on the table this morning to get a picture of him. Oops. There we go. And put him up on my screen up here. Here. There we go. And I've pushed his face to be a little more caricatured, just a touch.
Luke Buscott wants to know, have you watched The Old Man in the Sea?
Yes.
This is a great oil painting animation.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I watched it. When I first saw it, I watched it, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, then I watched it again.
I've never seen it.
It's stunning. I don't know how to. I can't give it any adjectives other than stunning, breathtaking. It's incredible. So once again, I'm just throwing down textures to create the illusion of this curly hair
Oh,
that little Max
Martin
has.
Berger wants to see the real Max. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, go get Max.
Maxie.
Aaron, a YouTube question. Aaron, did you have to take merchandising into consideration when making Brother Bear? No, we really don't put the merchandising ahead of the storytelling. Now, at some point, merchandising does come into it, but it's always a result of the storytelling.
You want to take him, babe?
Sure.
And I'll change the camera real quick, and then I'll switch it back.
So here he is. Here's little Maxie. And his little afro.
You can't see his face. It's okay.
Yeah. He's a little nervous. He doesn't know why he's being paraded around.
He said, "What are you
But
doing?"
there he is. That's him.
Okay.
Hey guys. he's not amused. Oh. All right.
Okay.
Off with mama.
Come on, baby.
So he's a good little dog.
Yes. Who's a sweet boy?
So the key on this, doing this type of hair on a dog, the key is to, find those shapes. Take the time to find your lights and darks and to find those shapes. Ugh, I got lots of hair in my mouth. And then it just takes a little bit of detail work here and there to really add the details that you need. Like I said, I'm going to pull out the dry brush here in a second.
Have you ever been to the Himalayas? What'd you think of the wildlife there?
I've been to the base of the Himalayas in Nepal, or just north of Nepal, and I've been to southern Nepal. Southern Nepal isn't really near the Himalayas, but I loved the wildlife in. I went to a place called Chitwan National Park, and it was stunning. We went out on elephant back every day. We tracked tigers. It was just it was the highlight of pretty much everything I've ever done, other than my trip to Africa.
Have you ever heard of Pine Creek Gorge? Did you mention that?
I don't know Pine Creek Gorge. No.
Okay, well, someone's saying it's amazing. I guess in the first week of October.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to look it up, see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Gabby's like, don't forget about California. You gotta come here.
Well, I just talked like for 10 minutes about Big Sur.
No, but coming to do an event.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which you will be in CTN and in Lightbox. So those are.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be
in
in Pasadena in what?
September.
September, yeah.
This 8th or 6th or 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that.
Like 9 weeks from now, 10 weeks. From
yeah,
now.
And then CTN in Burbank, right, is in November, middle of the month.
Yeah.
So he will be in California, Gabby.
Come on down.
It's just not it's events for other conventions.
Here, I want to grab my dry brush now. The dry brush I usually bring in later, like I'm doing now, and it's a great brush. See, if I blow this up, you see those marks. It's a great textured brush, and I like to use. Oh, I'm on multiply. I'm gonna create a new layer. I like to use it to just get a nice texture.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you see how it's doing that?
Yeah. But these are all your new brushes you've designed, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this one I designed this one a while ago,
Okay.
but and it's with I have a textured brush set that's out, but this is the one brush that I use the most out of that set. And I'm constantly going back and forth and changing the size. You see if I, when I knock it back, the size, you can see that it's really good at just creating this nice kind of texture.
Yeah, like fluffy hair.
Fluffiness, yeah.
Eric Nieto says, I hate Aaron. Because of him, I leave the grocery store with 17 bags in hand, just so I don't have to put my shopping cart away.
Yes, I love that.
Hey, dummy, put your card away.
Put your card away.
God.
I still swear at people that don't do it.
Oh, I just
Vedanta will tell you.
Yeah, I just give them the evil eye. Like, really? You couldn't walk 3 feet? Lou Sensenbauer says, what's the strangest animal you've ever tried to draw?
The strangest animal I've ever tried to draw. Well, I mean, I did a lot of for my biology teacher in high school. I did a lot of drawing for extra credit for like for the overhead projector and stuff like that. Back when we used those, I don't even know if they use those anymore.
They did in the '90s, but who knows now? It's probably
Yeah.
all computers.
But I was doing some worms, ocean worms, and their digestive tracts and all kinds
And
of
like labeling the anatomy and stuff.
yeah,
Of them.
all that kind of stuff.
She
Yeah.
would pay you for that.
She paid me in grades.
Oh, he was like, "You're good, great."
Because as much as I love that stuff, I really failed at it in high school because all I cared about was drawing and girls.
Yeah, man, that's the life. Art and women. Well, girls. So, what's it like to ride an elephant?
Oh, it's awesome! It's awesome, and they're such well adjusted, well trained elephants. They were super sweet, and I loved it. So I'm using this dry brush. And actually, one of the guys in our group who gets motion sickness because it's constantly, when you're on an elephant, you're like this, and he gets motion sickness. He totally got sick on the elephant. Yeah, poor guy.
Aw. It's almost as bad as being sick in India, but
Oh,
we'll talk
yeah,
about
not quite the same.
Not quite the same. Oh, George Freeland says that Pine Creek Gorge is the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania.
The Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania.
It's catchy. The Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania. If you had to pick, lions or tigers?
Lions. They're more social, man. I'm a social guy.
Tigers are so striking.
They are. They are.
But yeah, lions. Family oriented, aren't they?
Yeah, family oriented. They love to party together.
Do you paint in pastels, which is strange to me, the wording, but...
I know. I've always thought that was weird to say a pastel painting, but you know what? I've never done pastels ever.
What about oil pastels?
Nope.
I did.
I've done. I mean, I shouldn't lie. I mean, I've touched them and barely used them in college, but I would never say that I've used them to any degree
Yeah.
that I'm
To me, it's kind of
able
like
to create
it's kind of
art.
like charcoal, but just colored
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. I've never really done anything with them. So here we are. We're getting pretty close to having this little guy done. You can see all I have to do is add a few details here and there. I'm going to go and hit another round of darks.
Don Maddox says, "Hi, Aaron. Working on a
Hi,
paint-
Don.
Hey, working on a painting right now that includes a newborn baby with no reference." He said there's a lot of anatomy for humans, but he hasn't seen a lot for anatomy for babies. What's the difference?
It's like two different species of animal. It's like drawing a. There's a huge difference. It's all proportion though, right? There's a ton of reference out there. Get on the internet. There's a ton of reference. Drawing a baby without reference is, that's like. We all think we know. It's like draw a bicycle. If someone said, sit down and try to draw a bicycle without reference, everybody thinks they know how a bicycle is put together and they can draw it. I'll guarantee you can't draw a bicycle without reference.
No,
I'll guarantee you.
It becomes like a stick figure. It's like,
Yeah, and so babies are kind of the same way. We all think we know until you sit down and start drawing it, and then it just comes out looking like it's the creature from It's Alive.
Just go to where babies hang out and just start photographing them. That should go over well.
Yeah, that should go over really well. Just go to the park, with all the families, and
preschool.
just get up really close to
the
strangers'
babies.
kids and take photos.
The
That's
nursery
right. That's
and
one of
the
my
hospital.
favorite. That's one of my favorite things in the old Saturday Night Live with Jack Handy, Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy. One of them was, you know what? I think a really good gift for the president is a chocolate gun, and because he's so busy, you've got to run up to him really quick to give it to him.
Oh, chocolate gun. Yeah, this is bad advice.
Yeah,
Don't
just
do that.
yeah,
Don't do
go
that.
to the park and photograph kids just randomly.
Go to the hospital and sneak your way into where the babies are. Take some photographs.
No, but really, there is a lot of reference out there. Just get on the internet, and there's a lot of stuff out there. I think I'm getting close to having him.
Finishing? Well, let's see
Fini.
how far we're.
Well, no, I want to do the background now
Yeah.
because I want to get that oil painting feel.
Yeah, we're only an hour and a half in.
Yeah, and so what I do there is I'm going to go a little brighter, and because he's mainly in blues, I'm going to go just a little brighter, and I'm going to grab my dry brush, and I'm going to put a layer on top. This is where that image for Achilles, my dog Achilles, came in so handy. And I'm just going to work around it as if I'm doing an oil painting. And I'm just going to let some of it just spill over
Oh, nice.
and paint into some of the negative spaces. And then I'll go back in again with darks and draw the hairs. But you'll see what this does is it gets him to sit in the image a little better. That might be a little bit bright.
Did
It's
you
gonna go a
celebrate
little darker.
the 50th anniversary of the moon landing?
Did I celebrate it?
Yeah. Kirk Michael wants to know.
I
if we
recognized it.
celebrated it.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't celebrate things that never happened, so. JK. Just kidding. Just kidding.
But I am proud to say that I was alive when the moon landing happened.
I
And
was
I do- and
not. That was what, 68? 69?
69.
69.
And I do remember, I
69.
actually, I don't remember the moon landing because I'm 51 and that happened 50 years ago. But I do remember some of the other Apollo missions, which is kind of cool. I remember watching them on TV in the early 70s.
I don't know if I can. Let's see. Zoltan Leoxy. I can't do it. I'm sorry, guy. He's asking about reference for animal anatomy. Any books? I know you have your courses cover that on different animals.
Yeah, my courses cover that, but there's a lot of stuff online, and then as far as animal drawing, creature drawing, one of the best people I can recommend is Terrell Whitlatch. She's just an amazing animal artist, creature designer, and
oh yeah, Tara Whitlatch.
yeah, Terrell's
You've got
awesome.
several books of hers.
Yeah,
And isn't she in Expedition Art?
she is. Yeah,
Awesome.
she's part of our group. I'm not sure if she's going to Africa. If Manny's listening, maybe he can let us know. So you can see, I'm adding this brushwork behind little Maxie here, and just kind of softening up, losing some of the edges.
Just wanted to shout out to Erica Bay, who's been on for quite a while. Just
Hi,
one
Erica.
of your top fans.
I know, I love Erica.
We'll see you soon somewhere, I'm sure.
We're gonna see her here. She's coming down
Oh, she is.
to the master class.
Awesome.
Yeah. Erica and Jen Sestaro, our biggest fans. Heather Worley. We got a lot of great folks.
A lot of dedicated fans.
And a lot of people that are listening now. Yep, and it's very cool. So I'm going slightly brighter now. Oops, not too bright. And I just by going a little brighter, I'm able to throw in a little extra, it adds a little extra texture. Because this document is so big, the brush is a little bit slow.
Someone said you were talking like Bob Ross for a second, were you?
Yeah, I probably was.
Oh, it's a happy little hair.
As I'm trying to get
It's
this,
a perfect little hair.
as I'm trying to get this in here.
It's your world.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do. All right.
Did you save?
Dang, no.
Martin Berger's always on top of that.
Yeah, thank you.
He was like, hey, don't forget. I must have missed something in the. People were talking about making Jello out of babies, and I must have missed some part of the conversation.
That's crazy.
I know, what? They took it somewhere not nice.
So now you can see, I'm hoping you can see, kind of there's a painterly quality to this now. Yesterday. Here we go. So I'm just gonna let this come down just a little bit, not all the way down. Come on, catch up. Just gonna let this kind of fade out. There we go. I want to go just a touch brighter still. You notice I'm doing it with warm colors as well. Oh, Nick's back. Sorry, there's a storm there. I guess we lost him.
The girls just texted me they're having a crisis.
Oh yeah?
Heather got locked out of her phone. She changed the password I told her not to change.
Well,
She's gonna have to swipe it again.
she's gonna have to learn. I don't know how many times you've told her not to do that.
Like, I've reopened or swiped their phone so many times.
Well,
Lose all your pictures, oh well.
we're busy.
How many times a day do you do drawings and paintings as practice?
Well, I mean, every time I'm drawing, I'm practicing, whether it's practice or not practice. But I don't know. I don't draw every day. I certainly don't draw when I'm hungover. Sometimes I do. I try to draw as much as I can. I draw because I love to draw. So I mean, if I'm bored, I'll draw because I just love it. But I draw at least several times a week. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but it's, oops, I'm going to go down here. You know, I'd say 4 or 5 times a week.
I mean, you're always creating some kind of art.
Yeah.
Even if it's just doodling, you know, when you're talking on the phone or something, you're always drawing.
So I'm doing a little dry brush right now of some of the fur, just to get it to sit a little better. I'm using my dry brush. And you can see it creates a nice, if I blow this up, you can see it creates a nice soft edge. That's really what I'm trying to get here.
Do you draw in the bathroom?
Nope. Can't say that I draw in the bathroom.
I feel like you surf social media in the bathroom.
Oh, what guy doesn't?
Like,
I think I'm in there for probably a half an hour at a time, if not longer. So I'm just going in now and just hitting some darker areas with this dry brush. Just really pulling it together. Hitting some of the negative spaces.
a couple non-art related questions. What's your favorite candy? It's random.
My favorite candy, I love Skittles.
Oh yeah, that's your movie candy.
That's my movie candy. But I like anything chocolate and peanut butter.
And Gabby, I don't know. She's asking our age difference. I don't know if that's something.
I don't mind.
Okay.
If you don't
I
mind.
don't mind. I'm 40.
Well, you didn't have to give them your age. I was just going to say that we're 10. I was just going to say we're 10 years apart. Yeah, 'cause not everybody heard me say what my age was.
Oh, my bad. Oh. So, okay. My bad. I'm old. Ish.
You're not old.
Ish.
I'd love to be 40 again.
Well, your daughter turned 30 today.
I'm
40.
I'm the father of a 30-year-old. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
They can do the math. You had her when you were 21,
21, yeah.
so
I had 2 kids by the time I was 22.
Aaron and I are 10 years apart.
There we go. Well, I'm pretty much. I think I'm almost there. What do you think? I want to add some texture, and I want to crop it just a little bit.
I was gonna say the foreground is a little blank, huh?
Yeah,
Under his feet.
yeah. I'm gonna do. There we go. There we go. That feels pretty good. Oops. Oh, I just cropped it down to the size of a pixel. There we go. All right, now. So you can see how useful this dry brush is. It really gives you some cool textures. Oops.
Kirk Michael. Aaron, have you ever drawn when you're absolutely drunk? I have. It was actually better than my sober work.
It made me sick. There was one time I was in Kyoto, in Osaka, Japan, and and we were kind of on a drinking tour down there, and I went into this bar and had a lot of sake that night, and I woke up the next day with one of the worst hangovers I've ever had, but I also woke up to photographs of me behind the bar, serving drinks to people, doing drawings for everybody.
Was that you and Nick?
No. This
okay.
was years and years and years ago. This is 16 years ago, and I have no memory of that, but it was fun.
Gabby says I'm a vampire. I don't look 40. You're a sweetheart. You're a little sweetheart. But I feel like when I try to do artwork, if I'm drinking, it's just awful.
Yeah, that's how it is for me. It's horrible.
It's just like, it's just bad.
I remember when we were making
connect to my brain.
Yeah, when we were making Mulan, I on Friday nights, we'd have overtime, but on Friday nights we could take a little break and we'd all have some beers and then we'd go back to work. And I had, I don't know, about 4 or 5 beers, more than I should have. And I tried to animate and all I did was make myself sick. So I learned very quickly not to do that again. Yeah, I can't drink and draw.
Drink and draw.
No, I don't drink and draw.
No.
So there we go. I'm getting close to the wire here. Now I want to add the texture. I think that's coming along. I think I got his ear pretty good. Nick says half your age plus 7 is the acceptable rule as per How I Met Your Mother as far as age goes.
What's the acceptable rule?
Half my age plus 7, so I could date a 32-year-old.
Ooh.
You could date a 27-year-old.
27-year-old?
Nah. Emerica on Twitch asks, "How can I get this brush?" Well, if you're talking about the textured brush, we have a textured brush set on the website, and this brush is in that. But I'm also going to put together a set that has all the brushes that I use today, plus a couple of others. These are my go-to brushes to create the images that you see here, and that's what I'm always using. And that's what it is. It's just going to be all the brushes that I use. All right, so now I want to open grunge. I gotta go to that file that has, or the image that has like grunge file in it.
Oh, that's right.
I always open that
on
because
the elf image.
I always forget to save the grunge file as a grunge texture as grunge.
But you know where the file is.
I know where the file is.
So Leonardo San Andreas wants to know your most fascinating thing you discovered at Disney, something that really surprised you.
Most fascinating thing that I've discovered at Disney. I don't know. That's a.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened. It was a long time.
Yeah, that's hard to say. There's a lot, just like Vedanta said. Just real quick, I just want to show you what I'm doing here. So what I've done is I've grabbed a grunge texture and I've brought it into this.
Oh yeah, it's like almost like coffee stained or something.
Yeah,
I
I brought it in, and it just adds interest. It's a grunge texture. When coupled with the dry brush that I've done, it really provides a nice little kind of, I don't know, earthy kind of feel to it. And I set it fairly light. It's set to multiply is the blend mode, but I set it kind of light. Oh, I could maybe go a little darker. And then I'll just go in and I'll erase away the areas where I want it to be a little brighter. And so like in the face, I'll erase away in there.
Do you know what you're going to label the brush set when you put it on sale?
It'll be my something like my go-to brush set.
Okay, that's exactly what they ask.
Yeah, something like that.
Go-to brushes.
And so, whoops. So now I want to set this to multiply, and I'm going to do. I want it to be a little brighter on the left side where our light source is. So I'm going to do a blend or a gradient just from the right side over. You'll see it get a little darker. And I've set it to multiply.
Is that the grunge texture?
No, this is a blend mode.
Oh, okay.
Just to make it a little darker on the right side.
That's cool.
So it focuses your attention on his face, which is where I want it. I may have gone a little too much with it. I'll brighten that up just a touch. There. And now I'm going to create another layer on top of that, set that to multiply. And I just want to lightly emphasize a few shadows here and there with my textured brush. This one, 29.
Anna Volkin says, they told me to be an animator or illustrator, I have to leave my dreams of traveling behind.
No, you don't.
I was going to say, whoever told you that's... Yeah.
I travel more now as an animator, and when I wasn't at Disney too, I traveled more then than I did any other time. And this is really lagging. I just want to hit a little bit of dark in here. Come on, there we go. So I'm going to save all this. I'm going to create a folder. Put all this in a folder. How many layers do I have? 1, 2, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 layers. So there you go. There's 15 layers. So now I copied the group. Now I'm gonna flatten it and merge the group. So now it's okay though. I've still got this file, this folder that has everything broken up into layers. But I wanted to merge that group on top because I wanted to, first of all, I wanted to see if I could push, actually jump up here. I wanted to see if I could push the saturation just a touch. It's a little bit, Just a touch. You
Yeah,
like
the
that?
yellow and the red comes out more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And blue.
And the other thing I want to do is I'm going to hit that red just a little bit more, give it a little bit of a highlight. Create a new layer on top.
Martin said if you saved that texture today, it would be as historical as the moon landing.
You're right. Because I never do I? So I'm just hitting little details here and there now, just to get that to zing. And then I've got one more thing I want to try. I'm going to go to my smear tool, which is set up. I've got one of my, it's actually one of my foliage brushes. It's one of the my grass brushes, but the way that I have it set to repeat, it works really good as a smear tool because I can go in. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. I can go in and just really soften. Let me show you. It does this really cool texture. I just lightly hit it. It works really well. So I'm going to hit it up in here. Just soften up some of these edges. It's almost as if I've gone in and kind of smudged some of that paint to get it to feel like it's sitting in that background just a little bit better. There.
Someone said the stream stopped, but it's still on for me.
Oh,
Sorry, Martin. Don't know what happened.
I don't know what to tell you. Shoot. Is it still going?
It's still going on I'm watching on Facebook.
Okay. Maybe it stopped on one of the other platforms. Or is it?
No, he's on Facebook.
Oh,
Want to make sure.
it might be on your end, Martin.
Yeah, because it's.
But there we go. There's our little doggy. What do you think, Mama?
Yeah, I love it. We should print it out and that and Achilles, and hang them somewhere.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to soften this up just real quick with my smudge tool. And then I'm going to go back to my brush. And we're going to go a bit brighter, not green.
What's your favorite smell?
Orange blossoms,
Oh.
without or jasmine. Those have always been my favorite smells.
Gabby says like a rainy forest.
That's
Like
good
when
too. The sound of the smell of approaching rain.
Oh, that's what
That's
I
good.
said. I taked it,
But yeah, definitely orange blossoms.
yeah.
When orange blossoms are happening here in Florida, when the when
so
that's
sweet.
oh my God, in the fall, it's amazing. So I'm just hitting some random Nick, you already asked that question. There we go. It's gone. All right, so I think we're there.
Aw, he looks so cool. You captured his spirit, his essence.
There, I just wanted to add a little bit more light there. And a little bit, you know what I need? I need a little bit more. Stray hairs here. Where the detail is. There we go. Oh, that's better. Stray hairs around the eyes. There, okay. I think we're there. One last thing to do.
The old signature roux.
The signature roux. It's a little bright. Nope, too distracting. That's one thing. You know, I never really talk about signatures, but I never want it to be too bright and too distracting. I want it to blend in with the image. There we go. So there is our little Max. Oh, and then I wrote Achilles on Achilles. So.
Oh yeah. Maximus. It's actually Maximus Decimus Meridius.
I'm not writing on
No,
that.
I know. I named him after Gladiator. No, Max is good.
Max.
Max.
YouTube question: What is an unknown budgeting advice? What's an unknown budgeting advice you have for an animator? What's an unknown budgeting advice you have for an animator?
Maybe something that's not
I
talked
don't
about.
know what that means.
I think it just means budgeting advice that people don't really talk about. An unknown budgeting advice. I know it's worded weird.
An unknown budget. What is an unknown budgeting advice you have for an animator? Are you talking about time budgeting or monetary budgeting?
I was gonna
You know,
say
the biggest. I mean, as far as time management, just stay at your frickin' desk. That was the biggest thing that people didn't do. You know, be sure to just put your money where you need it. Be really honest with yourself. If you're talking about money budgeting, not everything is precious, and that's one of the things. So many people look at what they're making, and everything is precious. Well, that's not the case. I mean, when you're making something, an animated piece that requires a lot of money, and you're using other people's money, then you have to accept the fact that there's going to be more important parts than others. And it's not that you're sacrificing quality, it's just that you're putting more into areas than you are in other areas. And so you just have to be really honest with yourself as far as, what deserves that extra attention, and what is the connecting pieces to get you from those tent pole areas to those tent pole areas, back and forth. So just be really careful about that and honest with yourself, and that will help you. I guess I'm answering the question.
I had someone come in late. I think. Are you using all new Photoshop brushes
Uh,
for this?
Half the brushes were new, yes. I shouldn't say all new, but half of them were.
The texture ones.
Yeah. So there's our two dogs right there. These are the two images. Let me get rid of this.
Save the tech. No. Okay. Save the texture.
So there's Achilles, done yesterday, and here is little Max.
Aw, guys.
Yeah, so we've got them both together here, and these were done with the new brushes. So I hope you. And I wanted. This is kind of a good lesson on fur too, to show you that you don't have to have all of that, every single bit of hair, in order to get a nice fur texture. And so take it for what it's worth. And Max here, by the way, if I shrink him down, he's about that big
in real life.
in real life right there
Yeah.
to Achilles. That's about how big he is to Achilles, right there. But there we go. So those are our two dogs, and I really enjoyed doing this one. And like I said, with a little bit of grunge texture, these brushes that I use, I really like having that classic kind of oil painting, a little bit rough, handmade kind of feel. That's what I shoot for when I create these brushes. I want it to feel like it's organic and not digital. And so that's what I've tried to do here. So I'm going to make these brushes available. I hope you have enjoyed watching the process. And once again, check out my new Patreon channel. Also, yeah, Nick is reminding me. Don't forget, there's just over 1 week left for our Orlando event, which is October 3rd and 4th. This is the event where I'm going to be speaking live for 2 days, the August 3rd and 4th, at the Orlando Preparatory Theater, and I'm going to be giving demos like this. We're going to be talking about character design, animation, storytelling, story creation, my own career, how it's taken twists and turns, all kinds of different stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also we've just started our Patreon station commercial page. Thank you, our Patreon page, and so go over to patreon.com/ Aaron Blaze Art, and if you'd like to be a participant, we would love that. It would really help us out so that we can do more of this, and that's really what we want to do for you guys, is to kind of provide you with the best art training that we can for as little money as possible for you guys. So that's our mission statement. So I hope you guys have really learned something today. I really enjoyed doing it. Actually, I'd love to do more animals like this, more dog portraits and that sort of thing.
We should get them printed on metal and put them on our bar.
That's a good idea.
Someone just suggested to hang them in the bar. I was like,
yeah,
print them on metal.
So we got Little Max and we've got Achilles. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Someone is asking about the next live stream. They must have missed that.
Oh yeah, so the next live stream, I'm not sure. It's going to be probably at least a week from now. I've got this next course that I'm trying to get done on perspective. I'm doing a course on 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. It's going to be really cool. It's everything that I know about perspective, which is a fair amount because I've been doing it since I was 8 years old. So I've got a little bit packed in there, and I want to get it all out. But if I'm doing the live streams, it's really hard for me to do both. So we're going to take a little bit break from the live streams. I'm going to get this course done for you, and then we'll be back again, and we'll have a new course out as well on drawing perspective, 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have a great week. Go out, put some beauty back in the world. That's what we do as artists, and that's what the world needs it. So go out and be beauty warriors. And do something nice for somebody. Put your grocery cart away. Do, even the littlest things really make a difference in someone's life. So you just never know. Do something nice. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you have a great week or two, depending on when it is that we come back. And I'll talk to you later. Vedanta?
Bye. Have a good week.